You will fail. Dust yourself off and get back up and continue to move forward. That's probably the hardest one, especially being a small business owner and a sauce maker. That some days you're the bird and some days you're the statue. Sometimes you get an order from somebody and it's like you're like so happy. And then another day it could be you won an award, and then all of a sudden the phone's not ringing
Hmm.
and you're doing a tasting somewhere and people are just walking by you instead of trying it. So it really, you just got to have a stiff upper lip, and you got to just, if you like baseball, Joe Torre, manager of the Yankees, said it best: never get too high and never get too low. Just stay right in the middle and keep a smile. Just keep on moving and just keep, and that's all you can do.
Mango ham barbecue, mango ham barbecue, mango ham barbecue, mango ham barbecue. Get your barbecue on, get your barbecue.
Ever notice how the sound of sizzling meat and the smell of smoke can silence the noise of the world? Now that's barbecue therapy. If the fire moves you, like, subscribe, share, and help spread the message, because growth, like good barbecue, takes time and patience. Welcome to your therapy session. Welcome to the Barbecue Therapy Podcast. My name is Tavis Bryant, and today I've got Chef Ray Sheehan, pitmaster, KCBS judge, barbecue product maker, and author. But here's the thing: Ray's story isn't about chasing trophies, it's about chasing integrity. From bottling clean label barbecue products to writing books that capture the soul of barbecue, he's built something that lasts. Welcome to the show. I got one rule: make yourself at home. I have no sponsors currently, so you can speak freely. I'm
Thank you, Tavis. Thank you for having me.
going to start off with an off the wall question. You've been a chef, a judge, pitmaster, and writer, but if you wasn't in food, what career do you think you'd be chasing right now?
Oh man, if I wasn't in food, that's all I've ever dreamed about, was being in food my whole life. Probably a photographer, because if I'm not creating something beautiful, I'd like to be capturing it.
That's an excellent answer. All right, we're going to take it back. Do you remember the very first dish that you made where people stopped and said, "Wait, you made this?"
Ooh. I think it was probably when I was in my early teens and I was aspiring to go to culinary school, and I made some off the wall pasta dish that took, I don't know, it took me forever to make, but when it was done, everybody was like thrilled and, oh my God, you can't believe you made this. And that was probably like the first thing, but I was always tinkering and trying to learn from my mom, my grandma, my grandfather,
Hmm.
and trying to learn from them, because I like come from a line of, like, my grandfather was a chef. He had a farm in Puerto Rico, so I would spend the summers there. So my first hint of barbecue was him cooking over like live fire and making his little sauces to flavor the meats and vegetables. And I think that was what really started me on that path. But
Hmm.
then I got away from it and I got into more of the culinary arts. And then I swung back around eventually and got just enamored by it, just the smells of the wood burning, the meats cooking, and just made it my life's purpose. It's the roundabout way.
You shared stories about your grandfather's farm before. What's one lesson or memory from there that people don't know, and how does it still show up in the way you cook today?
I would say to never, like, to not cut corners. Like, he did things the old fashioned way, and he tried to do things which was like a clean way to do it. Like, he slaughtered his own pigs, he prepared all his own foods,
Mhm.
he cooked the stuff from the farm, whether it was chicken, pork. I mean, they had banana trees, mango trees. Like, he used everything. Years later, when it came time for me to create products, that I wanted to not cut corners and just have integrity with the ingredients that I was using. You see a lot of products, and there's arguments either way for using certain ingredients and for not using them.
Mhm.
Throughout my career, I got to work at a natural food store and I learned a lot about clean ingredients. I wanted to create products that were free of high fructose corn syrup, free of additives, colors, dyes. My son was born premature. He was born at 26 and a half weeks.
Oh wow.
And we tried to give him as many healthful foods, organic when it made sense, or foods without dyes because we found out he was allergic to them. Coming to create products, I wanted, again, it goes down to integrity of the ingredients. Like my sauces have gone up against some of the best in the world in some of the biggest sauce contests when I had the Barbecue Buddha brand.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the Chef Ray Sheehan brand of sauces and seasonings, but we're still winning awards. Sauce King NYC, Grand Champion, American Royal, Best Sauce on the Planet, second place. And those are natural ingredients. There's no MSG. There's no, whether you're for it or against it. It's just cleaner products and stuff that you'd find probably in your cabinet, and you wouldn't have to go out of your way to make it. But it's just having that integrity with the ingredients.
It's easy to cut corners and try to make a
Sure.
buck, but you're hurting people in the long run versus doing something that you can respect and put your name behind, not trying to make a quick buck. So that's definitely a good thing.
If
Like,
you're in the sauce business, you're definitely not trying to make a quick buck. You got to sell a lot of sauce to make money. I'll tell you right now, that's something I learned. You really got it. You have to have, your brand has to be all encompassing. You see some of the best people that are doing it, and they're not just selling sauce. They're doing classes, they're teaching, they're contributing to the culture of barbecue. And that's what I try to do as well.
that's excellent. When you started cooking, you went to culinary school and then you worked your way into grilling?
I did. I worked in a lot of restaurants. I went to a school, which was a community college for food service management.
Hmm.
And then I went to a culinary school to study culinary arts and pastry. So when I came out of there, I worked in, I've had every position from dishwasher up to chef to food service director. I was a baker for a long time. And I've spent a lot, my career is kind of long. So I've spent a good amount of time in each position.
Hmm.
But I really didn't swing back around into grilling per se. Like when I worked in restaurants, a lot of times they put me on the grill, but that's not the same type. That's a totally different, that's no barbecue therapy when you have 20 orders, 10 medium, 5 mid-rare, 2 well done. That's not barbecue therapy. My barbecue therapy came later. I was, at this time, I was the food service director of a natural food store.
Hmm.
I kept wanting to get a smoker, and I kept saying, I don't have enough time. I don't have time to, I'm going to be out there all day. I don't know what I'm doing. And my wife was like, she ended up getting me a book, and she's just read about it. Just see where you go with it. Don't, like, why are you're putting up a wall before you even try? And then I was like, because I always had like a charcoal grill that I'd be fooling around with, or like
Hmm.
something like that, but not to the level that when I make food or cater parties, or I wanted to do the best that I could possibly do for the client and make the most beautiful, delicious food. I wanted to learn how to do that with barbecue. And it was frustrating to start out and be like, I'm starting all the way at the bottom again. But it was fun too. That was my escape from working this job that I was like, at this point, I was miserable at it. I liked the people, I liked helping the customers, but there were certain political aspects about it that I just was not fond of, and like workplace political, not like political, but I just wanted to. So it ended up becoming a therapy for me because it was my like time away, like just peace and quiet, just trying to do this smoker, and my wife actually got me a smoker for my birthday.
Oh,
And
wow.
then, and it was an electric smoker. I only really had to worry about the time and what temperature it was on. I didn't have to worry about controlling the fire. And as I was doing that, I started creating sauces and seasonings to flavor the food. And then I
Hmm.
was like, oh boy, I really like this. This is great. It was coming out dark and black. And I was like, I didn't know what I was doing, but the sauces were great. So over time and trial and error, I started getting better at it. And like you, I started taking classes and I
Hmm.
started buying books. And I was like, I want to be a student of this type of cuisine, and I want to learn from the best. One thing, I worked for a great chef one time, and he told me, always work for the best and you'll always learn. You always want to be learning. So when it came time to learn about barbecue, I really wanted to learn from the best.
Hmm.
So I took a master competition class with Tuffy Stone, his cool smoke barbecue class. I took a class with Bob Trudnak. He does classes all around the world with Big Mo Quezon.
Hmm.
I wanted to learn, and really you learn, it's trial by fire. It's you doing it is really the where you're really gonna. But I tell you what, those classes do help save you some steps and some
Hmm.
real big, if you're going to buy that brisket. I know a lot of people that are afraid to go buy a brisket because they're like, I don't want to ruin it. And I'm like, if you don't try, then you'll never be able to do it. Everyone's barbecue journey is different, and everyone's coming at it from a different angle, from a different place. My why is different from your why, and the next person's why do you do it? And my goal was to create terrific barbecue that people would enjoy, that I would enjoy, and that I would enjoy create the time that it took to create it without cutting the corner. I read as many of the books as I could, and I took the classes, but the main thing was just getting out there and doing it.
The pellet grill
Absolutely.
pretty much saved my barbecue career because it allowed me to enjoy barbecue and what it does, but it's easy to learn, and I recommend it for anybody getting into it because you can set it and just focus on what you're doing in the kitchen at the moment until you get better. And I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, it's the gateway. How else if you're coming from zero and you want to learn, it gets you started. And you know what? It gets the job done. It really I've had all different kinds of smokers at this point,
Mhm.
and like one of my we all have our favorites, but there's different uses for the different cookers. There's a time and a place for a 250-gallon tow behind, and there's a place for, in my mind, there's a place for a big green egg and a pellet grill. It just really depends on your situation. There's a lot of people I see at the campgrounds that have either a live fire
Mhm.
set up or a pellet grill, just because it's easy. Because when you
Mhm.
go to the campsite, you're like, yeah, I just want to throw the pellets in, press a button, and I'm cooking. But so it really just depends on what your goal is. If you are the type that likes to just throw a stick on every 45 minutes, and that's cool too.
And I don't like the people that try to down people based on what grill they use. As long as they out there barbecuing,
That's
that's
right.
the point. It's not about what you use. It's you out there enjoying the elements and just cooking meat and forgetting about everything.
Listen, barbecue is community. Barbecue brings people together. So why would you want to downplay somebody who, no matter what kind of cooker they're using, because the type of food barbecue is, it's meant to gather in good times and bad, brings communities together. So whatever you want to cook on a trash can, I don't care. Just
Exactly.
let's just get some food and get together.
Because you never know that their food might be better than yours
Oh
and
yeah,
you cooking on. So they never know who exactly. Have you ever competed before? And
absolutely. I started taking these classes and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. The only thing that I wish I would have done was do the backyard competitions first. I was just like, yeah, sign me up. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, this is going to be a learning curve. So, but I have to say, I mainly did it. I am competitive, but I mainly started doing it to market my products.
Mhm.
So I came out with these products in 2014, the line of barbecue Buddha sauces and seasonings. And to promote the products, I started sponsoring some teams and I got out there and I was doing some competitions. I did not do well in the beginning. Let me tell you. I didn't know I mean, look, I had no idea. I was like cleaning the chicken at the competition the night before. I was like, oh, it was bad. It was so bad. I was like, man, that's a lot of work. Then I start talking to some people and they're like, oh, you can trim your meats before you come. And I was like, oh, I felt real stupid. But like I said, everybody, you got to start somewhere. And I never begrudge anyone for starting because
Mhm.
that's the only way. Everyone started somewhere. But yeah, so then I started picking up and doing better. And then we ended up finishing one of the competitions that was big in my area. It was in Delaware, in the Delaware Seashore State Park. It was around Halloween. It was called the BBQ. And the kids could come and trick or treat at the different sites. And
Mhm.
it was one, at the time, it was one of the biggest KCBS competitions on the East Coast. And we got two calls. We finished seventh overall out of 60 something teams. And that was huge for us. So we were like, man, this is some tough teams too. Teams that go to the Jack, teams that go to the Royal. So it was like, whew, at least we're on the right track. But over time, I started doing smaller competitions that were more charity oriented because I found that I could market my products and donate to charities, even though a lot of the KCBS are for charity. It's just the cost has gotten so expensive. by the time you get your meats and everything, and I'm not a hardcore competitor. Like I'll judge, you know what I'm saying? But I don't need to put out a grand for the weekend to
Yeah.
market. But there's teams that use my products currently that, like, I got a nice note. I got an order from someone, and they, in the order notes, it said, "Hey, we used your Kansas City sauce, and it helped us win the grand championship at this KCBS competition." And I was like, man, dude, that is like the best note that you could get in there,
Exactly.
because, again, we're with the natural ingredients, and then these guys are winning. But I do like a lot of smaller things. Like I'll do the egg fests. Like we were the New Jersey Egg Fest champion last year, the People's Choice,
Hmm.
and we did the Kids Queue. Don't get me started on the Kids Queue. I love promoting the Kids Queue. They're our future. My son was one of the writers for Future of Q
Oh.
magazine in it when it first came out.
Hmm.
And the children are our future. They're our legacy in barbecue, and promoting them and giving them every opportunity and encouragement. I'm really grateful for the companies that reached out and donated prizes for the kids, because these are like things that they're going to be like, I won this when I was whatever, 12, 13 years old.
Hmm.
And that's what got me started in barbecue. If it's that little spark that we can offer the kids to get them cooking, that makes all the difference. Then, and it doesn't matter if I won. We already won because we're promoting them.
It teaches them a skill that they can keep mastering. By the time they get, as you start them young, by the time they get to their late teens, they pretty much will be an expert if they
Oh
just
yeah.
keep at it.
I told my son, I said, you don't have to do this for a vocation, but you have to know how to sustain yourself.
Mm.
I'm not going to be here forever. So I thought for sure he would go into food, but I think he's going to be a rock star. He wants to be. I don't know. But at least he can cook a nice steak. He can make homemade pasta. He can make pizza, but he loves to grill. He grills all the time. I work with different companies. If they throw me a grill, sometimes I'll throw one to him or some kind of thing just to keep him engaged.
That's excellent. All right, let's move over to Ray's Roadside Kitchen. Let's take it back. What made you decide to start a restaurant, and what year did you start the restaurant?
The restaurant started in 22.
Okay.
So it had always been my dream is to open a restaurant,
Mm.
but the circumstances in which came about really came out of nowhere. Like I met up with someone who I was already doing business with,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Oh, I want to back you to do a restaurant," and it was, I would just say we tried. We did the best we could in our community, but the community didn't ended up supporting it. It was like home style Southern food, Southern fried chicken. In the time that we were there, we won best chili in the state. We were top 30 bowls of chili. I think we were like somewhere in the middle, like 13th or something.
Mhm.
But and then positive reviews from local restaurant critics. But it was, like I said, handcrafted burgers, Southern fried chicken, some really great sides, and barbecue. Barbecue was like the specials. But as we went on, because I'm known for barbecue, more and more people thought it was a barbecue restaurant and were disappointed. So when we wanted to flip it and make it straight up barbecue, it didn't work out with the partners. Everybody wasn't on board. So it was short lived in that sense. Even though we had rave reviews, it didn't work out for maybe less than 2 years. At that time, I had my sauce business, and I sold the trademark to the name Barbecue Buddha to a gentleman, a barbecue guy on Instagram, the Barbecue Buddha, Chris Sussman. So I sold the name to him, and he was known as the Barbecue Buddha.
Mm.
And I never claimed to be. I just was the guy that made the Barbecue Buddha sauce. That was my thing. So I sold it to him, and then I started making plans to rebrand and to just use my own name. When you come out with a product and you have to have your own identity, your own name, there's so many names that are so close that you'd be surprised that if you try to get the trademark, you will get denied because it's even remotely close. Even if it's the way it sounds.
Mm.
If I wanted to make Sweet Baby Jay's barbecue sauce and my name was Jay, they wouldn't put that through because it sounds like Sweet Baby Ray's. It's too close. Sweet Baby Jay's, Sweet Baby Ray's, there's going to be confusion in the marketplace.
That's crazy.
Right? That's what the trademark attorney told me. So when it came time to have a new brand, I was thinking of all these different names, like a play off my name. Then I was like, you know
Mhm.
what? I've been in the industry 25 years. I'm just going to put my name, my likeness on there. Of course, the one on the bottle, I didn't realize I had that much less hair than I have now. When the guy did it, he's like, how's this look? And I'm like, where's the hair, man? I'm like, oh, I guess that's where we're at these days. But the guy that did it, Doug Jolly, with Red Iron Design. He's done a lot of work for barbecue people in the industry, and he's in Pensacola. He's done work for Big Mo Quezon. He did our artwork and created the labels. He did a fantastic job. If anyone's looking for somebody to do like labels for their products, Doug is amazing. Red Iron Design. A little plug there, sorry, but I just had to let people know because
Okay.
a lot of people are looking for that kind of thing. But so trying to go through that whole process again and starting all over, because that's basically what I did. Like here, I won all these awards for my Memphis mop. That's the sauce that we were the most famous for with my barbecue Buddha brand. And that's the reason why I got the first book deal, was because I gave the recipe for that sauce and
Mhm.
all of our award-winning sauces. And so just starting all over. So you need a new look, but that's why I try to keep the name, like the Memphis mop, that people know. I
Mhm.
kept that, and the recipes are all the same. And we ended up getting back into most of the stores that we were in the beginning. At one point, we were in, I think, about 100 stores locally and in the tri-state area. So New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and then some strays, a couple in Texas, a couple in a couple other states, Michigan. But it's definitely a lot of work to get that going, to get the whole trademark thing
Mhm.
and starting over. It's been a lot of doing. I do a lot of like demos at grill stores and grocery stores that I sell to. And once people get to try the foods, once they get to try the sauce, it's one step closer to them making a purchase.
Since we talk about the sauces and rubs, when you start off creating your rubs, do you just freestyle it or do you have a game plan when you going in to make a rub or a sauce?
So I typically have a game plan. I would say I know I have an idea of what I'm going for,
Mhm.
and then I'm trying to find the ingredients that what's going to make it taste that way. What's your sweet, salty, sour, hot, what's going to flip the switch for somebody. And
Mhm.
I could go through like 20 revisions of a sauce and not be happy with it and then just can it for a while. I'll
Wow.
just be like, I got to put this away. It was a couple years ago, I entered a sauce in the Sauces of Honor contest,
Mhm.
and it was a mustard sauce. And we got fourth place out of 126 sauces. And that sauce I've been working on for a few years. And then I just put it on the shelf. I'm like, I'm not ready to put that out yet because in my area, I don't know how much of that I would sell. It's a great sauce. And I think in some areas it would go great. But in the Northeast, I think it's a lot more education and you're a lot more trying to. It would be like me making the Alabama white sauce. Nobody's gonna buy it up here. People are like, that's mayonnaise, but they don't know the sweet tanginess of it and how great it is. So for me, it I do know I have an idea of what I'm going for, but my thing has always been quality over quantity. I only have 6 items in my line. I have 2 barbecue sauces, 2 rubs, a hot sauce, and a hot honey.
Mhm.
But if I could have it any way that I like, I would have probably 2 or 3 more barbecue sauces and probably at least 2 more rubs. But here's the thing, when you have a small brand, every product that you create, you have to, like when you do your sauces, the sauce has to go through the lab and has to get approved for bottling. And then they check the pH. It's a whole process. And
Okay.
all that process costs money.
Mhm.
So that part costs money. Then you need your nutritionals for the back of the bottle. Someone like Doug has to do the label, right? You need a label. It's got to be a compelling label. It's got to make somebody want to pick it up.
Mhm.
Then on top of that, so my point is a lot goes into it, just coming out with one product. But then you create this product and then you got to be able to keep it in stock. And it's a balancing act because you could easily just keep charging and paying for the product. It's better to just do it cash and just pay it. And so you don't have stuff piling up. So you do have to be able to keep it in stock, and keeping 6 products in stock is already challenging enough. Really, the way when you with a sauce business or any one of these businesses, people say, "Oh, I'm in all these stores." But where you really make the money is when you sell it at places. When you go to a farmer's market or you go to a convention or you go, that's where you make the money. You got the most margin right there.
Mm-hmm.
You go put it in stores, you make $1, maybe two, and they make $4. And all of a sudden your sauce that was $5.99, someone said, you go into one store, I saw somebody selling it for 14. I'm like, man, ain't that nice? I don't need to get me a store. What am I doing? I'm like driving all over the place, delivering it, everything. And to make what? To make so they're doing as many events as you can too. Earlier this year, I had a medical issue. I had to have a surgery, so that put me off of events for a little while. Thank God I'm back now, but as a small business owner, that could really be detrimental. Like you
Mm-hmm.
really have to be constantly looking for new customers, constantly getting your products out there, and getting people to try them. And the more people try them, if it's good, they're going to get hooked. Then they're going to be like, man, this is good. Or for us, we enter our sauces into different competitions from time to time. I don't go too crazy with that either, because you could definitely spend a lot of money entering these sauce contests. But it's good because it's a talking point for your company, for your product. And we won a Scovie Award for my Kansas City sauce. And the reason I bring that up is because it won for best first place kid friendly barbecue sauce. So when you're doing a demo in a grocery store and here comes mom with a kid, you could be like, hey, want to try my barbecue sauce? Is best kid friendly barbecue sauce. So it gives them a reason to try. Some sauces, as you taste great out of the bottle. Some sauces are really made to be on a protein and not straight out of the bottle. And it's harsh when they go to sample it just plain.
Mm-hmm.
But on a piece of chicken or pork, you're like, wow, that's dynamite. It really complements the meat. So I'm really trying to make one product that does both, good out of the bottle and good on the meat, because when you're doing the sampling, sometimes people taste it just on a spoon. Sometimes we'll do pulled chicken, because I've done events, tastings where people are like, oh, I don't eat pork. And I'm like, ah. Oh. So this way, if I make chicken, most people will try it. They'll try the chicken.
Definitely true. What we're going to do is, if you can, we can go through each one of your products and you can explain a little bit about it so people can know what
Sure.
each of your products are. All right. You can go with the Memphis mop sauce.
Sure. The Memphis mop sauce is, like I said, that's our big award winner. It's sweet and tangy. It's actually lower in sugar than most barbecue sauces. Maybe like some commercially bottled ones are like 18 to 20 grams of sugar. I think we're at like 8 or 9. So it's like middle of the road, but it's a lot less. And it just has that flavor that like lingers on your palate and makes you like want more. You're like, man, what's that? I can't put my finger on it. I really want more of that. And that's the beauty of Memphis barbecue to me. That was one of the first ones I fell in love with, was Memphis. And this past, or not this year, the year before, the first year of Smoke Slam, we got to do demos for NBBQA at the live fire experience. And it was like me when I first came out with my products with the rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, I was a little bit nervous sampling my Memphis barbecue sauce in Memphis for the amphibians at this event, but it was very well received. We did wings, and we did them like with I have an OG rub, and I can tell you about that. That is like a low sodium all purpose seasoning. It's the OG barbecue rub. And so the OG and the Memphis were my first 2 products when I came out. So I released them like 2 at a time for the first 2. And the OG really complements great with the Memphis because it's more savory and it's low sodium. So we did that on the wings. And then I ground it into a little bit of a dust and just finished the wings with that for the live fire experience. And then we have our Kansas City sauce, which is sweet and smoky, but it's not overpowering of a smoke. It's like a nice background and with a nice little bite at the end. So the finish it's not all sweet, but it is a sweeter sauce. And that one, I get a lot of people using that in competition barbecue. I have teams that use that on the ribs. I have some teams that use it mixed with our hot honey. If you like hot honey, our hot honey is like, it's a real clover honey. You'll get the sweetness from the honey when you first taste it. It's like a wave. It goes in, and right before it's about to hurt you, it starts going back out, and it's exciting because you're like, oh boy, when's this going to stop? And then you're like, all right. So if you mix that hot honey with the Kansas City barbecue sauce, that is like a nice, real sweet heat on ribs, on your pork ribs. And then we have a beef rub, which I'm just calling it the beef rub because it's the beef rub that you need, because it's like a seasoned salt. It's peppery. It's infused with herbs, really made to stand up to a big piece of meat, like a prime rib, a brisket, like a Chateaubriand, like a filet mignon. You can use it on steaks. We use it on burgers in competition. But the two rubs work well together because one is a low sodium and the other one is a seasoned salt. So I'll put like a base layer of the beef rub on a brisket and then just top it off lightly with the OG rub. They work great together. And then the hot sauce that I have, that's like a hot sauce for people that like a little bit of heat, but it's not like going to ruin your day. It would be mild. It's a cayenne red pepper sauce with notes of garlic and spice. So good on your wings. Good. I use it in a rib wrap sometimes, or I'll use it as a binder for ribs. And that one is called Jersey Heat. It's the Jersey Heat hot sauce.
I appreciate you sending me those. I look forward to using them. So
Absolutely.
I definitely appreciate it. Let's move over to your books. How did you get the idea to write books? Were you approached or did you just decide on your own?
So if you're in the culinary world, most people, it's like a dream come true to be able to write a cookbook. And I remember years ago on my culinary journey, I used to own a fish market. Yep, I owned a fish market. I don't even know how, but I did. I was a caterer at the time, and the guy wanted to retire, and he made it feasible for me to take it over. So one of the customers, his wife worked for Simon and Schuster, and they had a little local book that they were doing about area shops. So they wanted to feature my shop in the book. So I said, hey, I always wanted to write a cookbook. Can you hook me up? And then the guy looked at me and I don't think you're ever going to write a cookbook. That's not how it works. I was really disappointed. So probably many years later, I'm winning all these awards for my barbecue sauces, far removed from this fish market thing. And I'm at a convention on the East Coast in Atlantic City. I already started working on recipes for a book because I said I was determined. I am going to write a cookbook. If I have to like bang down doors and reach out to people, I'm going to do what I can to try to get a book deal. And I meet up with a friend of mine who's a champion barbecue guy, Bill Gillespie. And Bill says, hey, Ray, how's it going? And I said, oh, it's going great. And I said, I'm working on a cookbook. And he goes, really? Who's your publisher? I'm like, I don't have a publisher. He said, I'll introduce you to mine. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, really? After about a month or two of us throwing some ideas back and forth, I guess he must have mentioned something to them. And then they reached out and they were like, okay, what's your big idea? And I was like, all right, here's my idea. And they were like, nope. And I was like shattered. I was like, oh, okay. But they were really cool. They're like, you know what? You're the sauce guy. You write, you have all these award-winning sauces. What about this? What if we did a sauce book and gave out your recipes for all your sauces? And I was like, for my sauces? I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. And they were like, that's the idea. Basically, if you want to do it, it's more compelling if people get an award-winning sauce recipe. They're not going to just want some random sauces. And I'm like, you know what? Some of the best chefs in the world give their recipes. And it's going to be different for everybody, bring something different to the same recipe. So I was like, so then I had to make a proposal to them. It wasn't like cut and dry. Okay, you have a deal. It was like, all right, they want to see this book proposal. So I had to come up with a proposal and send it in and pray and wait and see what happened. And then they're like, all right, now send in this proposal with the recipes, some of the recipes, and we're going to test them out. It was like a whole thing. And then finally, like, I feel like I got like through this maze and they were like, okay, we're going to send you a contract. And I was like, okay. It could have said $1. I would have signed it. I was like, okay. And so that was the first cookbook. And I was really fortunate. I got to work with Ken Goodman. Ken Goodman is a world-class photographer and a champion barbecue guy as well. So when he was photographing my book, like he knew he was a chef for many years. He got burnt out being a chef and became a photographer, and he has a knack for it. He doesn't just take beautiful pictures, he creates them. So it was like really like I couldn't have asked for a better person. Like what a good dude, a great photographer to do the photography for my book. The book features 10 of these award-winning sauces and then 5 ways to use each one in grilling and smoking. You get 60 recipes. And the book, it's called Award-Winning Barbecue Sauces and How to Use Them.
Mhm.
And it was Barbecue Book of the Year for the National Barbecue Association at the Awards of Excellence. Judged independently for Book of the Year for Barbecue News Magazine. They had an independent reviewer. But so it was really like, and at this point, I started writing for Barbecue News in 2017. And I would do like recipes, some articles here and there, a product review once in a while. And I've been doing that since, like I said, so since 2017 with them. So I think that background of the writing really helped prepare me to write a cookbook. Writing a cookbook is no easy task, even if you're really like psyched. Think about you're a carpenter and you love to be a carpenter and you're going to build a house and you can't do it by yourself. It's a lot of work, right? So
Mhm.
even if you love to write, it's a lot, and recipe testing, there's a lot that goes into it. I think it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Like the amount of work, you're not doing it. It's the same thing. You're doing it for the art. You're doing it for the culture. You're doing it. It's your business card, right? In a way, you're not doing it because, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm under no illusion that I'm going to be a millionaire from doing this cookbook, but it's all those things. And for me, it was like so gratifying to accomplish one of my goals. We talked before we went on the air and we talked about how barbecue is a place for everyone. Everyone is welcome in barbecue. There's a place for everyone. And for me, I feel grateful that I'm able to write these articles and share these different companies. I do a gift guide that I do for holidays and for Father's Day, and get some of these brands. Some are big and some are not, and some of them just need a little light shined on them,
Mhm.
just like the people on your podcast. I want to help people, and being a part of the culture and being able to contribute to that makes it all worth it for me.
Okay.
For my second book, Big Green Egg Basics from a Master Barbecuer, that came about because I had some ideas and I brought the ideas to them again. And then, again, they were like, I don't think so. They were like, that's not as compelling as a Big Green Egg book. And you won a Big Green Egg so I won Sauce King NYC. I was the grand champion. My Memphis mop was the grand champion, not me. I should say that. And the grand prize was a Big Green Egg.
Oh.
And they're like, so yeah, it was amazing. I had no idea. I was like, really? I was like, that's phenomenal. They were like, you have a Big Green Egg and you won this Big Green Egg. It makes for a good story. And would you want to do something like that? And I'm like, yeah, I would love to do. I just was happy to be able to do another book, to be honest with you. I have a book proposal that I'm working on now that, I'm excited to get that out there. But, you have to temper your excitement until if and when. And I think we're onto something this time, unlike the first 2 times. I think I can get this one through. But that's the thing. It's not a thing until it's a thing. So your drive has to be there regardless. It was like when I did the first one, I was determined. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to find a way. And it's not up to me to find the way, to define the way. It's up for me to say, this is what I'm going to do, and put it out there and do everything I need to do around it to make it happen. But how exactly it works out, it's not up to me. I think it's up to a higher power.
Your job is just to be prepared. So when the
That's right.
opportunity,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
and that's what I try to do when it comes to this podcast, because I try to read as well as watch and get all the information I can in case I run into somebody. Most people be surprised that you know them and know about them and all the information about them that most people may not know. And that's how I got into contact with a lot of people, just based on doing my homework and being prepared for those moments. And that's what it all comes down to. And once you get the opportunity, you got to make the best of it and be prepared. That's what I tell everybody. Number one thing, be prepared for any moment, because you never know when it'll come. You might go to the grocery store and run
That's
in
right.
there and meet somebody, or anywhere, a child school, dropping them off at school, you might meet somebody. So always be prepared for your opportunity. So it's definitely good. When an reader opens your book, what do you want them to feel and not just taste?
I want them to feel like the results that they're after are attainable. With the sauce book, when you open it up, it
Mhm.
gives you an idea of how to make different sauces. All there's these recipes are blueprints, so you could take this sauce and you can make it your own with an addition of something, taking an ingredient out, replacing it with something else. I want them to feel that with the sauce book that they can create and make results that they want. And with the Big Green Egg book, I want them to feel comfortable that when they fire up their Big Green Egg, that they're going to achieve excellent results from my instruction. That it's going to make it easy for them. You know, the Big Green Egg book, the way it's designed for someone who never had an egg or someone who loves to cook on their egg. But if you're someone that never had a Big Green Egg or a Komodo style grill, it teaches you how to set it up, how to light the fire, how to maintain the temperature, how to clean it, how to do everything. And the chapters are set up by technique. So hot and fast grilling, low and slow smoking, roasting, and then there's even two baking chapters, one sweet chapter and one savory chapter. So it's trying to give people the tools that you could use this all year round. Komodo style grill is an investment. It's not a cheap thing. If you go to buy one, yeah, they do have a lifetime warranty, which is great, but you're going to put out a little bit of money to get it. And so I want to give people as many reasons to succeed and to do well cooking on that and reasons to cook on it as possible. So you could do, I have recipe in there for like turkey breast, apple cranberry relish, green beans. I'm thinking Thanksgiving, but you can also do your pulled pork. You could do your brisket. You could do your ribs. You can do different desserts. Like I'm doing an event Saturday and we're doing apple pear crisp with oatmeal crumb topping. That's from the book. So it doesn't have to be straight up just meat. In that you're giving people different reasons to use it. So I want it to be, whenever I write, I want the recipes to be accessible for people.
That sounds good because explain it. I mean, some people just make the book, and I like how you start off by instructing them how to light the grill and how to manage the fire and stuff like that,
Oh yeah.
starting from scratch. Because most folks just get the book and they'll open it up and be lost because they don't know how to operate. And maybe the way your recipe is set up, it has to have the fire a certain way. So they won't know that if a person doesn't put that in the book. So that's good that you were very detailed in doing that.
Oh yeah. Even so with the Big Green Egg, the way you control the temperature, it's all about the airflow. So I even have a guide on there and it tells you how much the vents should be open, what percentage they should be open to give you what temperature the temperature you're trying to achieve. So I try to be as detail oriented as possible.
Mm.
And there's like little Easter eggs in there too. There's a recipe for the one for the turkey breast. There's a good recipe for a brine. There's a recipe for the rubs. How many times you buy a cookbook, and I'm not going to name names, but you look at the cookbook and it's use my rub, and there's no other alternative. So if I want to achieve success, now I got to go back to Amazon or your website and I got to order this rub. I'd rather give people an option.
Mm.
Here's a recipe for a sweet and smoky rub. You could use that for this recipe, or you could use it for whatever recipe you like. Here's a
Exactly.
recipe for just a basic house rub, and you can make it the way you want it. You give people a thing. Now you got to go buy my rub. Go buy it, my sauce. I feel I look at it from the eyes of the reader. From the reader, I'm like, man, I bought your book. Now I got to go buy. Not that I won't buy your sauce, but I don't want to have to buy it just to make this recipe. That's my point. I want to try to give people the accessibility to, if they want to, they could make it. And why else are they going to buy the book? You're not buying my book, so I could tell you to go buy something else.
Let's move over to the Barbecue News magazine, which you've been writing for since you said 2017, and
Yes.
congratulations on the cover again.
Number eight in the covers. I'm so grateful for that opportunity to write for Barbecue News and to be a part of that family in that regard. There's truly a place for everyone in barbecue. It's just, look, man, when I wanted to learn how to cook, I went to the restaurant that I worked that was next door to where I worked. And I was 15 years old and I worked at a little grocery market, and I would work from 7 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes five. And I would go next door and I asked the chef, I go to the back door, I said, "Can I watch you cook?" And the guy would let me stand there and he would be explaining stuff as he's cooking and plating, and you got to want it. Like, I reached out to the barbecue news and I said, "Hey, I got some recipes. I'd love to contribute." I don't know. They're going to say yeah, they're going to say no, but how do you know if you don't try? I want to encourage people. You got to try, man. Don't be afraid. You got to. I was very fortunate because Kel Phelps from Barbecue News Magazine couldn't have been like a nicer guy, couldn't have been more welcoming. He said, share with me what you got. We'll take a look." And then sure, he got the stuff. Sure enough, he said, "You know what? We're going to put that." And let me tell you, I went from being a subscriber to having my recipes next to Paul Kirk, the Baron of Barbecue. I almost fell over. I was like, "Oh my God, Paul Kirk doesn't get any better than that." And
Mhm.
then so the next month I said, "I have a couple more recipes." And it's never stopped since then. I just kept going. I said, "I'm just going to keep sending them recipes." And then Cal said, "Yeah, this is working out good. So why don't we keep doing that?" And grateful that him and Miss Janet accepted me and let me contribute and be a part of it. And it's good for me because it keeps me engaged and keeps me
Mhm.
creating. And it's good for people because then they get to see these different, mostly it's recipes, majority. Once in a while, I'll do an article. I've written articles on various products,
Mhm.
try to shine a light on some hardworking people, and then a couple product reviews. But the main thing now I do, like I said, at the holiday time and at Father's Day, I do the Grill Master's Guide to the holidays and the Grill Master's Guide to Father's Day. And the one at the holiday time, we feature usually about 12 products. Could be sauces, seasonings, thermometer, anything barbecue related. I'm always on the hunt looking for different products. So if you got products, reach out to me because you never know. There's no cost to be featured.
Mhm.
Now, it's not like you get some of these guides, it's pay to play. If I like your product and I want to feature it, I'm gonna feature it. And really all I need is a photo of the product and some background about the person's company. I have been asked to review products, but I can't review a product I don't have. That's the only thing. If somebody wanted me to review a product, then but I certainly am not like I don't need anything. I'm not looking for anything. But the gift guide has been very well received. It's been featured in Barbecue News Magazine, the Smoke Sheet Barbecue Newsletter, and then I've been a contributor to the Baseball and Barbecue podcast for a few years. So I go on there, we discuss the products, and then just recently we started with the Pit Life Barbecue podcast, talking about the products on there. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just great to get the word out there. It's definitely something that I think is unique in that it's not a pay to play thing, and it's good at there. Like I said, there are big companies, but the person that like take a company like Magna Chef, they make really great barbecue gloves. And now they have cutting boards, they have these barbecue tools, and they're growing. But it wouldn't be possible for them to grow without having like spreading the word. And they're a small family run business. The products created by a firefighter. So what better marketing is it to have barbecue gloves created by a firefighter? He knows or that like how to create a product that's going to stand up to the heat. But it's helping spread the word. That's the community of barbecue, and that's my small contribution.
I love that because it gives other people a chance instead of seeing the same old. There's nothing wrong with the same old people, but there's numerous ways to get there. There's other companies, other small companies that people haven't heard of. It's like sharing the road, just giving other people
Right,
a chance instead of 'cause these companies use the same people over and over again. Some of these other podcasts get the same people over and over again. There's so many people, so many rubs, so many grills, and all that out there that people just haven't heard of and got their chance to show what they
right,
have. And it's good that some of these companies are out there showcasing, like you said, the gloves, because most people might not have heard of the gloves until they listen to the podcast, the Pitlife
right,
podcast, and they can say, "Oh wow!" Then they look at their hands and see how many times they didn't burnt their hands, and they were like, "Okay, that's a good idea." And the first thing made by a firefighter is going to be like, okay, that might be something I could trust. So that caused you to do research and look into it and see what they're talking about. But just having the same people and promoting the same people is not
Yeah.
growing the barbecue community because, like I said, people get frustrated after a while. Be like, okay, I'm never going to get my chance. Where there's people that can give them a hand and help them and pull them up just to get them out there,
Oh,
and you
yeah,
never know what
absolutely.
happened.
I would much rather lend a hand to lift someone up than to step on them. When I do these guides, I don't list my products. I look for other people that have sauces and seasonings
Hmm.
because I don't view their success as a lack of my success.
Hmm.
Like, it doesn't mean that there's less in the bucket for me. There's a million rubs, there's a million sauces. There's people that are going to buy mine regardless. There's people that are going to buy yours regardless. Like it, but why not? Why not? It's hard, man. It's hard having a small business. Never mind a business that's like in a category that's so crowded.
Hmm.
I'd rather lift my brother up than step on him to get ahead. That's just me. And if I don't, if that's the way, if I can live with that, you know what I'm saying? And I'd give you, for instance, I was in a contest for sauces, and the contest promoter didn't end up following through with giving out the prizes. So I became friendly with one of the other sauce makers. To this day, is one of my best friends because we met that way. He's a sauce maker. He's a rub maker. So am I. Right before COVID hit, he built me a website. If he didn't build me that website, maybe we didn't get through COVID. He didn't charge me a dime. Do you understand? This is what you do for people.
Exactly.
Now, there was a template, so it wasn't like he had to do it from scratch. But if he didn't do it, I didn't know how to do it. And this guy's a great friend and just a good human being.
Hmm.
I promote his products. I have no problem. And they're really good. It's called BT Lee's, by the way. BT Lee's sauces and rubs. Let me tell you, his products are all natural. Now, yeah, am I on trying to talk about mine? Of course. But let me tell you, someone else's success does not take away from mine. Just for me talking about that, there's people that are like, I love Ray's sauces too.
Hmm.
I'm not, it's not, you can't live in this world as that is just you. We're not put here to just be for us. We're put here to say, how may I serve?
Hmm.
So I'm here to serve. And if that means helping somebody else out, what one day it'll come back around.
I love that. I'm gonna read something that you wrote, and because I loved it. You shared this, I don't know if it was a website or a magazine. It said, "Understand that everyone's journey through life is different. There's no one particular way to achieve your goals. However, I believe that the mantras that help guide me to where I am today will help others navigate fearlessly. Those life lessons are stay focused on what you want to achieve and have fun doing it. Number two, be in service to others. Ask, how may I help? Number three, always work for and with the best in your industry. Number four, be a lifelong learner. Number five, don't be afraid to be great. Number six, you will fail. Dust yourself off, get back up, and keep moving forward. Number seven, if it were easy, then everyone would be doing it. Number eight, it's never too late to be successful. Which one of those lessons were the hardest for you to learn?
Oh,
And that was excellent, by the way.
thank you.
Well said.
You will fail. Dust yourself off and get back up and continue to move forward. That's probably the hardest one, especially being a small business owner and a sauce maker. That some days you're the bird and some days you're the statue. Sometimes you get an order from somebody and it's like you're like so happy. And then another day it could be you won an award, and then all of a sudden the phone's not ringing
Hmm.
and you're doing a tasting somewhere and people are just walking by you instead of trying it. So it really, you just got to have a stiff upper lip, and you got to just, if you like baseball, Joe Torre, manager of the Yankees, said it best: never get too high and never get too low. Just stay right in the middle and keep a smile, just keep on moving, and and that's all you can do. Because if you're too up or too high or hanging on every little thing, man, you really could mess yourself up. But if you're like right in the middle, that's like the sweet spot. That's like
Mm-hmm.
people in business and in life are more attracted to people that are stable, confident, that are, if you're sitting there, woe is me, oh, nothing's going right. Nobody wants to be around that. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't attract people. That doesn't attract business. What attracts business is, you don't have to lie about your business and be like, oh, everything is great, but don't focus on the negativity. Focus and be thankful and say thank you every day for the things that you do have. And
Exactly.
that's something that I had learned, and I try to live that every day.
Yeah, that's excellent. All right, I'm gonna ask one more question and play a quick game with you and get you out of here. When people talk about Chef Ray 20 years from now, what do you want them to say?
I want them to say, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be into barbecue. For instance, if it's one of these kids at a kids queue and I help spur them on to barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
then I would feel really great 20 years from now if somebody said, hey, thanks for encouraging me. Look at all I accomplished in the world of barbecue.
Exactly.
When I was young, I think it was like fourth or fifth grade, I had a teacher and he let me borrow a book. And he said, are you done reading the book? And I said, no, not yet. He said, I'm moving to Australia Friday. He said, if you're going to read that, if you're going to finish it, seriously finish it, you can keep it and then pass it on to somebody else. But if you're not, bring it tomorrow. And I said, well, I'd like to finish reading it. And I loved to read as a kid. And I loved to go to the library and look at all the books. They were either like murder mystery or like chef books, cooking
Mm.
books. I could not ever get enough of cooking. I don't know. That was just my passion, was food. So if I could inspire someone in any type of way to get out there and light the fire and grill or barbecue, then it's all worth it.
Definitely. Well said. Said. All right, that's all the questions I have. I got one quick game I play with everybody. College
Okay.
basketball has a tournament bracket. So I made a tournament bracket of 16 meats that you cook on the grill. And when I give you a matchup, just tell me which one you prefer to eat, and we'll see which one is the winner. All right.
Okay.
Matchup one is brisket versus lamb.
Brisket.
All right. Matchup two, smoked ham versus sausage.
Sausage.
All right. Next matchup is smoked turkey versus beef ribs.
Man, I'm gonna go beef ribs. My cardiologist don't like that, but I'm gonna go with that.
All right. Barbecue shrimp versus hamburger.
Hamburger.
All right. Next matchup is pork chop versus smoked chicken.
Smoked chicken.
All right. Next matchup is smoked bologna versus pork ribs.
Pork ribs all day.
All right. Next matchup is hot dog versus pork belly.
Pork belly. That's the first seed and the bottom seed.
All right. Steak versus burnt ends.
Oh, I'm gonna go burnt ends.
Wow. Okay. And next matchup is brisket versus sausage.
Brisket.
Okay. Next matchup, beef ribs versus hamburger.
Beef ribs.
Okay. And next matchup is chicken versus pork ribs.
Pork ribs.
Okay. Next matchup is pork belly versus burnt ends.
Burnt ends.
Okay. Next matchup is brisket versus beef ribs.
I am currently living this right now as we speak, deciding whether to make brisket or I'm gonna go beef ribs.
Okay. And pork ribs versus burnt ends.
Pork ribs.
All right. And come down to the real matchup, beef ribs versus pork ribs.
Beef ribs.
All right. Beef ribs is your winner. All right, Chef Ray, your therapy session is over. If you want to give your website and promote anything, you can definitely do that at this time.
Thank you. My website is raysheehan.com. It's RaySheehan.com. And you can find me on social media at Chef Ray Sheehan on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever they're calling it these days. You can see my articles in Barbecue News Magazine, occasionally in the Smoke Sheet Barbecue newsletter, and as a guest co host on the Baseball and Barbecue podcast.
All right. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was definitely a good interview. I can tell when the interview goes well because half the stuff I have on paper, I don't even get to.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, definitely stuff it in your specialty and just to educate people. But I definitely appreciate you coming on and giving your time and wish you the best of luck in everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see everybody next episode. We just wrapped up another session of barbecue therapy. Remember, stay patient, stay passionate, and keep that fire burning. Hit subscribe, share the good smoke, and pay the secretary on your way out. Have a blessed day.